Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I am back to answer a few questions. I had some questions on paper pumpkin first, and I know a lot of you know this, but some of you that are new, and I have had questions, wanted to know what paper pumpkin is. And I don't usually get into all that much because I'm not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. But I love my subscribers. You guys are awesome, and I'm going to tell you right now what paper pumpkin is. So Paper Pumpkin is a subscription to Stampin' Up! So every month Stampin' Up!, which is a stamp company, and they have, in case you don't know, if you know, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure everybody gets the information they need. They sell all kinds of like scrapbooking tools like this Stampin' Up! Envelope making punch board. They have paper and stamp pads and a million different stamps, tools. I mean, everything you could possibly imagine for like card making, scrapbooking, journaling, you know, all that. So that's what Stampin' Up! Is. So when you subscribe to their Paper Pumpkin kit every month, it's $20. And if I'm wrong about any of this, people can correct me down below, but it's about $20. And they send you a box full of goodies, and every month it's different. So like, this is my one from last month, and I have some things in here from other months, but so, or no, this is 2 months ago. So this was, you got card, you know, the card base, two different types of card bases, and two different types of envelopes. And so like this one was to make, I think it was 4 of each kind. Let's see here. And it gives you all the information on the back that comes in the kit. So you got the Friends of a Feather stamps. So let's see, I don't know that I even have mine in here, but I have my new ones. I apologize. I thought I grabbed my new box and I grabbed an old box. But this is what came in the new one. So you get a set of stamps, and in this one we got some stickers to put on our calendars. We got a whole 1.5 year calendar each month, and I added the other stuff that I did the other day in my video. But and you got this gift box to put the calendar in if you wanted to do it that way. I usually do alternatives to give people other ideas of what they can do with their kits, because like they will give you 2 types of cards to make, and they show you step-by-step instructions on how to make those cards. And you know, if you didn't want that many of one style or 2 styles, people like to have alternatives. So a lot of people on YouTube are doing alternatives to give other ideas of how you can use your paper pumpkins. But if you wanted to do them all the same, like you had a bunch of family members that you wanted to send out the same type of card to, you can totally do that. And that's what that is. And then we got a Christmas one that had Christmas card bases and, you know, different plaid papers to decorate them with, and I'm out of a lot of it, so I apologize for that. But every month is different, and you don't know, and you always get a little set of stamps like the one that I showed you. And we usually get 1 stamp pad. This month we got 2. So for the calendar set we got the pool party and the grapefruit grove. So we got 2 little stamps, or you know, just the stamp pads with the ink. A lot of months we get 1, but you get often ribbon comes with it, like the calendar kit. This time we got all this ribbon, so there's enough to do your calendar and extra. And then this month they also sent a bunch of 2-froms that you could use on your Christmas packages right now. So it's just every month you get one, and they usually try to do it a month ahead. So like the November one was Christmas cards, and the December one is stuff for the new year. So it's a month ahead so that you have time to make gifts or whatever and send them out. And so each month you get a different one. That's what Paper Pumpkin is. Then I had another one of my awesome subscribers ask me to show how I made this easel. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I just took, in your Paper Pumpkin at the bottom, there's this chipboard that they stack, like usually the envelopes and the card bases and any like laser cuts or die cuts or whatever on here, and then they wrap it all in plastic. Well, I keep these because it's super thick, nice chipboard. So that's what I used for the base for this calendar easel. So they measure 6 by 9, and I kept it that size. And then I took another piece, and it's 4 by 9. I cut it 4 by 9. And then I actually did end up cutting off like this much off the end, just because I wanted it a tiny, tiny, tiny bit smaller than this, okay? Just so that when it's folded back there, you're not noticing it as much as if it was the exact same size. You might see it like from the front, and I didn't want that. So I just cut off a sliver, but you probably don't have to do that. That's just the way I did it. And then I took this piece that's 4 by 9, and I scored it at 1 inch. So you can see back here, this is where I scored it at 1 inch and folded it up and glued it onto the back of just the single piece by itself. So I'm going to show you how I do that, because it's not like you can just score it and easily fold it. It's thick chipboard. So what I do is I use my old cutter, and I just put it at 1 inch. Actually, I'm going to go the other direction, because sometimes you get like a weird, this isn't enough. It wants to fall off that edge. So I've got it at 4. I'm going to take it to 3 right here. And then what I do, I have a scorer blade, and so I just, but if you have one of those fancy scoring boards with all those, you're just going to score it 1 inch as hard as you can. But the thing is, it's still not just going to really easy just bend like a piece of paper would, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. So I take my blade as well, and I make sure I've got it at that. So I just push lightly. Don't push down really hard, because you'll cut all the way through it. You just kind of want to cut the top few layers to make that easier to fold. And it does kind of tear it a little, but this is going to be the bottom. I'm going to make this the bottom. I just really want it to fold but not go all the way through. So I'm just kind of cutting the first few layers there so it'll fold easier, because it won't work with just the score line. Okay, so I didn't go all the way through. It's still connected, but it's just going to make it easier to fold. And I know this looks kind of ugly, but it's the bottom, and I did it here, and it ends up being just fine. So now you want to take it and see, it'll fold a lot easier. Otherwise you may end up, you know, bending a corner weird or doing something. So you just want those last few layers of the chipboard to still be connected. And then I just covered this entirely with the fancy paper on this side, scrapbook paper, and this side. So both sides of this chipboard were covered. Then I covered the back of this. So I took a piece of paper and I cut it 4 inches by 9. I scored it at 1 inch, and then I glued it on and, you know, bent it up like this. So it's just like an L, kind of funny L, but anyway. And then you're just gonna, once you have the paper glued on here and here, you want to, and this, you're gonna put this on, and you don't have to worry about the back. You can do the back of this, you know, like the bottom, if you want to, but there's really no reason. So then I just glued it on like a kickstand, like that. So it would be glued right like this, okay? And you want to center it as best you can, because like I said, I cut off that teeny little bit. So when you're done, you know, I had this whole side covered with paper, this side entirely covered with paper, this covered. I went along the edges with my grapefruit grove, which I did not say. I did in the original tutorial, but I forgot in the second video. And I just went all along the edges of the chipboard, because I wanted it to be colored instead of the color of chipboard. So it's kind of that nice grapefruit orange color. And you can use any paper that you want to do this. You don't have to. This is Stampin' Up! Paper. It's old retired paper, but it is Stampin' Up! And then I just took a piece of the ribbon, and you can see it's not completely centered. It'd probably be better if you did that, but I glued it here and here. And the only thing this helps prevent is when you're first using this chipboard, see now it's like staying, and this is all slack. but it kind of wanted to tip forward this way. So that helps prevent that because it holds this back so that it won't flip over this way. I don't think it's really totally necessary though. It ended up being fine. I just didn't want it to keep flipping forward. So that helps this fold from coming undone. But once it got in place and was, you know, happy with its place, it stands up just fine like that. So, and then I just took the lined paper, glued on just this back part of the calendar. So this part's still loose, so I can still take my months off as I want to. And then I stamped the little sticker like they did and put it on here, and you can change that for each month. And like I mentioned in the last video, make sure that you get your months in the correct order, because mine were kind of mixed up. And if you don't get the right January, because there's 2 January, February, March, April, May, and June. So there's a year and a half. So if you don't get the right one, your days are going to be all messed up. So just an FYI. So that's what I did to make the easel. It was super easy. Just 2 pieces of chipboard, you know, bent one up to make like a kickstand, basically, is all it was. Okay. And then, so I also wanted to share with you guys, I did that, some simple kind of wrapping ideas that I have done this year. And a lot of them you guys may have seen, but I just want to show you that stuff actually works. Like I found this idea on Pinterest, and so it looks like a big Christmas tree. So you just take the yarn and wrap it around. I think I did like 15 times. I went around the box. I taped it first at the back, just the one strand I taped on the back, went around it 15 times, and then I splayed it out at the bottom so you can see. Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to get the whole thing, but this box is too big. Yeah, I'm not going to get it. This is the edge anyway right here of the box. So I just splayed it out up here and then tied it with a bow up here. And the way I did this was just to like take some of the yarn and go around my phone and then pull it off my phone, lay it down, so lay this section down, and then I tied a piece of yarn around the middle to make like a bow. And it's just a floppy bow, but it just looks kind of cute, and it keeps your tree at a point at the top, and then it comes out. And then I just took sequins, you know, little star sequins, and glued them all over that. Okay, so that's just one idea. Just kind of a fun, simple, it doesn't cost a lot. I get so tired of buying those bows at the store, and they've gotten fairly expensive for what they are, and half the bag is completely smashed and unusable. So I gave up on that a few years ago, and I gave up on the traditional Christmas wrapping paper as well, because I just feel like our landfills are already a mess, so if I can help at all, I try to do that. But this paper, this plain craft paper, breaks down a lot easier, and so that's what I like. Plus, I just really like the look. I just think it's a more traditional, fun look. I mean, you can do a million things with this. I've done pom-poms, I've done tassels, I've done lots of things with just plain old yarn that you buy at the store like this, and you know, and the plain craft paper. So this is just one idea that I did this year. And then another one that I've done is I cut out a bunch of, you know, like I did trees and snowflakes out of scrapbook paper, and these are just die cuts. So whatever you have, you know, use it. I just cut all different ones out. I even cut just like circles of different sizes. I did some of these these type of cuts, and then I have some of these that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I poked holes in them. I used jingle bells, so that's what I did on this one. I wrapped the yarn, this plain yarn, around the craft paper. I think it was 10, 12 times. Just whatever you want, how you like it to look. So again, I just taped the first strand on the back, and I wrapped it around, and then I started stringing near the end after I got to like say 8 wraps. I strung on 1 jingle bell, so that's just strung right onto the yarn. And then as I came around again, I strung, actually this is one of the earlier ones, like the 3rd probably time around, I strung on a die cut of the snowflake that I put a hole in up at the top. And then I hole punched the Santa and I strung him on last. And I just tied a bunch of bows here so that, you know, it is more full, so that it takes the place of the ribbon, and then put on a to from type thing there. You can even make simple to froms, you know, die cuts. A lot of us have these tags. Even if you don't have these tags, you can just cut paper straight, and then snip off this edge, take that little corner, put it over here, and snip off that edge, poke a hole in it, and you've got a tag. And I just put for you. I know it's kind of hard to see that because it's a really light silver, and just put on some silver sequins. Or the one that came in the Stampin' Up! Kit, I stamped it all over with those little like snowflakes and little balls and things in silver, and it's written in gold to from, so that would be really cute on top of that package. And I had one more that I did that turned out kind of cool. So this is another package that I took a larger one in the red, and then I put one of the Christmas trees on top on dimensionals. So I took that, you know, foam tape, and I put it under there to bring that one up. So what I did first was I strung the yarn around, and then I put it through the holes here so it goes under this tree. Then I put the tree on, then I put the Santa on that foam tape too to bring him up some. And I also strung these on. So I put the green star first, I put this red circle next, and the red star last. And so I just punched holes. These are just die cut stars, and they didn't have holes, but I punched holes in them. So just some simple things. I just think we like get a little crazy with all the stuff that we buy, and if there's any way to make it a little bit simpler and not so frustrating, especially with wrapping, because I used to just get so angry because, you know, you have a few presents left and all the bows are smashed. So I just found that very aggravating. So yeah, and then I just tied on a little to from with some more yarn. So I just wanted to, you know, give you guys some ideas and see if that helps at all. And I hope I answered everybody's questions on the calendar and the Stampin' Up! And the easel for the calendar. If you have any other questions, just please ask, because I have no problem answering, and I really love comments from you guys. So just please keep them coming. I really do appreciate you guys. You're awesome. You've been nothing but good to me, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll probably be back before the New Year, but you probably won't see me again until after Christmas. It's just going to be kind of that hectic time of the year. So I wish you all the best. Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday that you celebrate, if it's Kwanzaa or if you just got done with Hanukkah or whatever. Just happy holidays to everybody, and thank you so much for everything. Bye-bye now.